Hi class and welcome to Chapter 10. Chapter 10 is all about achieving world-class operations management. Now what does that mean to you, world-class? Well, we always know world-class means you're top shelf, you're the best, you do it the best, you manufacture the best, you have the best world-class operations. Some of our learning objectives today, we will try to describe the current state of U.S. manufacturing and what manufacturers have done to become more competitive. Describe the evolution from production to operations management. Identify various production processes and describe techniques that improve productivity, including computer-aided design and manufacturing, flexible manufacturing, lean manufacturing, mass customization, robotics, and 3D printing. We'll get into describing operations management planning issues, including facilities location, that's huge, facilities layout, materials required planning, purchasing, and just-in-time inventory controls and quality control. And also we'll get into explaining the use of PERT and Gantt chart to control manufacturing. Shahid Khan, Shahid Khan is the CEO of Flex and Gate. Don't forget, this whole chapter is about world-class management, how you're achieving world-class, which means top-notch management. He moved from Pakistan to the US at the age of 16 years old. After earning a degree in engineering, he got a job overseeing Flex and Gate, an aftermarket auto parts store, kind of like AutoZone. He refined the production process, the way they create the products, where they get the product from, and so forth, and expanded their client base to the automakers. So instead of people coming into, let's say, their local facilities and buying some things for their cars, they went to the automakers. That's huge. He eventually bought the company, and he is now worth about $7 billion. Now that's world class. So see if you can name this company. Location at facilities is a big decision. Location, location, location. So this company conducted an extensive search for a second North American headquarters that entailed $5 billion in construction and 50,000 high-tech jobs. That's great. 50,000. Cities across the United States began to actually perform high stakes competition to land the facility. They wanted it built in their state, in their city, in their area. What's the name of the company? I'm a avid user of their products, of their services. I didn't believe it in at first. I'm old school brick and mortar. I want to go into the store at the mall, pick out that item, and take it home. I want to feel it. I want to try it on. I used to go into Sharper Image. Every store, every mall, I should say, had a Sharper Image. I love going in there. You find some unique stuff. Now, I don't need to go to any of those stores. The name of this company is, someone said it, I heard it in the back, Amazon. Wow, Amazon is world class, hands down. I like the fact that they have embraced technology to the point where they're going to have a fleet of robotic employees. Now, the caveat to that is what's going to happen with the employees themselves, the human aspect. Amazon's working on that. But they've got about 500,000 robots in production right now. And their assembly line is completely automated. They're even considering, they're trying to see if this can actually is going to be doable. Use drones to deliver the products to your home. Drones. Wow. So manufacturing and services in the right perspectives. So manufacturing in the United States, in 1979, nearly 20 million people worked in manufacturing. Approximately 12.8 million people worked in manufacturing in 2019. So the value of products made in the US actually reached an all-time high. Technology and automation have changed the types of jobs now. So if you do not know automation, if you don't know technology, you're not going to be able to maintain the job that you have. You can't just be the person that takes the box and moves it to the next, let's say, conveyor belt, and then from there you put it on the truck. How do you control that in an automation way? And now 80% of jobs are in the service sector. 80%. That's huge. Please be reminded that this entire chapter, chapter 10, is about achieving world-class management skills, the way that you actually can top your competition. Let's just say that. So unlike their Colossus predecessors, many modern factory robots can now safely work side by side with humans. But do you think that manufacturing could someday be driven entirely by automation? Automated labor? Yes, we see it already. So these PowerPoints are about 3 years old. 2022. We're in 2025. 3 years time, a lot of things have changed already. I was in San Francisco, about 2 weeks ago, and I saw a bunch of those Waymos going all over the place. Waymos, I should call them Waymos, which is the driverless taxis. The Ubers and the Lyfts are going out of business because you get into these Waymos and you don't have to talk to the driver. You don't have to worry about them, let's say, turning the music up too loud or the air conditioning. It's all controlled by you because of the fact that you are the passenger in the driverless car, and you get to do what you want. They even say you can eat in the driverless cars now. I just think, wow, that's the wave of the future. A lot of folks are like, oh no, no, you still need the human element. Yes, we do. But at what point do we eliminate the human element? Because don't forget, 70% of most of your labor costs, I'm sorry, most of your costs goes into labor for companies. 70%. So what is actually made in the U.S.? These are the leading U.S. manufacturing goods. Chemicals, we create chemicals, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, soaps, paints, and fertilizers. $340 billion is some of the gross product that comes, from the U.S. Computers, electronics, computers and electronics, computers and communication equipment, 280 billion. Processed foods, beverages, tobacco, cookies, coffee, cigarettes, prepared meals, 270 billion. Transportation equipment, look at these numbers. Cars, planes, trains, ships, 148 billion. Why is that number significantly lower than the other categories? Because we do not produce like the other countries produce. That's our import-export problem. There's an imbalance there. So here are the top 10 U.S. manufacturing companies. Top 10. Number one, General Electric, which is an aerospace energy company. Whirlpool. I grew up with Whirlpool. Appliances. Broadcom, which is software. Emerson Electric. That's an electric system. What we're trying to highlight here is we still have a pretty good strong hold, I should say, on some of the manufacturing that happens in the U.S. still. Westcon International, which is electric systems. Rockwell Automation, industrial systems. Deadbolt, security. Humbel, lighting systems, and so forth and so on. 1 through 10. Will bats, bombs, and regulations stall Tesla's German production venture? Now, again, this was 3 years ago, and this has already come into existence for Tesla. So, Elon Musk wanted to build a new car plant in Germany in a comparable time frame to the one that opened in Shanghai. 1.5 years. Wow, that's a real quick turnaround time. But unfortunately, during the initial phase, and this goes back to location, facilities and so forth, when you're trying to have a world-class operation. So, unfortunately, during the initial phase of construction at the German site, 7 unexploded bombs from World War II were unearthed, causing a delay. Tesla's plans were again derailed by a colony of bats on their land that had to be removed and relocated, along with clearing a forest and planting new trees per German regulations. So even though we want world-class, let's say, service, it comes at a price. And that's what we're talking about. How do you get around some of these obstacles? And Tesla did, though. Manufacturing, services, and infrastructure continuing. Manufacturing service organization becomes more competitive. U.S. manufacturers compete with China, Germany, South Korea, and India. U.S. businesses must keep up with the latest production. We know that, all the technology and all the techniques. Service industry must provide customers with quality care and attention, maintain close relationships with the suppliers, and practice continuous improvement. World-class domination is what people are trying to achieve. From production to operations management. So production is the creation of finished goods and services using the factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, and knowledge. That's the one we added. Knowledge we added to all of that. Production management describes all the activities managers do to help firms create goods. Operation management is a specialized area in management that converts or transforms resources into human resources into goods and services. That could include anything from inventory management, quality control, production scheduling, and follow-up services. So this all ties into world-class service. I think Amazon, Google, Facebook, you can look at all the services, all the products all those companies produce, and they're world-class. And the word world class does not mean if they're around the globe, which they are, but it means they're top notch. Number one. Service robots. This is now happening. I go to several restaurants here in San Diego, and they have these amazing robots come in. They just bring you, like, say, your appetizer or your rice or something simple, but they are actually servicing the restaurant quicker than some of the actual human servers, because it's automated. If you order something like, say that looks like that string beans, or it could be edamame, which probably is edamame, they bring it out to you. It's sitting in front of you, and you take it. So companies are constantly discovering new ways of automating that eliminates the need for human labor. That's scary, but it's also the wave of the future. This robot waiter delivers plates of pasta in the first restaurant in Italy that used automated servers. Wow. How would you rather have your food served by a human or a robot? Something to think about. But it is the wave of the future. And it's super important to understand that if we don't get on the bandwagon will leave without us. Operation management in the service sector. Now, this is not product, we're serving people now. All about creating a good experience for those who use the service. Must innovate to cater to every changing customer's needs. Robot, AI, big time, robotics, wow. Operation management allows companies to turn their ideas into actual goods and services. All right, quick test prep here before we wrap up. How has manufacturing changed in the United States over the last few decades? We've seen changes. And what must American companies do to remain competitive? How does operations management differ between the manufacturing and service sector? A lot of questions, a lot of good answers are available in this chapter. So please remember that we are now wrapping up chapter 10, and we actually are concluding this part of the mini lecture. And again, read and review the rest of the PowerPoint, the textbook, and I will see you in chapter 11. Thank you, folks.